Arsenal's transfer window is about to get interesting. With Mikel Arteta focused on a midfield rebuild, their main target is Declan Rice, and after captaining West Ham to European glory, today we'll find out about a potential agreement with Arsenal. We'll also discuss Mikel Arteta's surprise forward target, break down Edu Gaspar's key mission for this window, and find out which Arsenal player has been named as more expensive than Kylian Mbappe. Yo, what is going on guys? My name is Babs14, welcome back to your boys channel, and I hope you guys are doing sensational, surviving post-season as the transfer window starts to get even more heated. As per, if you enjoyed, don't forget to smash a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, help your boy on his road to 200,000 subscribers. But starting off with Edu Gaspar's mission, this summer transfer window for Arsenal is going to be gargantuan, arguably our most important in over a decade. Arsenal will have to fight for a title again, trying to beat a three-peat Man City team. Fans are all focused on the incomings, but there's also other areas of focus. According to Simon Collins, the Cronkies want the club to be self-sufficient, and Edu also knows the greater fees must be received for players that Arsenal want to shift. This is where Edu Gaspar, Richard Garlick and all of the Arsenal negotiators have to prove themselves. Arsenal have not been a good selling club, but this time round things are different. Arsenal are now in a position of power. When you're fighting for a title back in the Champions League, all of our players are going to have added value, and Arsenal should be able to demand more money. But where does that leave the future of Nicola Pepe? According to Kaya Kayanak, Nicola Pepe is no longer a part of Mikel Arteta's plans. The player has just 1 year left on his current contract, and although Arsenal are keen to garner a fee for him, plans have been made for a termination of his contract if required. The issue that Arsenal have with Nicola Pepe is his wages. Having signed him for a club record fee of £72 million, Pepe is on a massive Arsenal contract, and not many other teams will want to match that, not unless you're from Saudi Arabia. You also have the future of Arsenal centre-back Austin Trusty. After a very successful loan spell at Birmingham, according to Kaya Kayanak, Austin Trusty is set to leave Arsenal on a permanent deal this summer. Having signed for Arsenal in 2022 for £1 million, even without making a single Arsenal appearance, after a very impressive loan spell in the Championship, a first cap for the USA men's national team, a profit is definitely certain. At 24 years of age and a left-footed centre-back, this guy has defensive qualities, maybe not the standard of Arsenal, but there are many teams interested, including the likes of Rangers in Scotland. The future of Nuno Tavares is also in question, whose loan spell at Marseille is officially over and they have no plans to sign him, and is set to be a busy man this summer, playing for Portugal and the Under-21 European Championships. Tavares has garnered some level of interest, as reports in Turkey claim Galatasaray have met with the representatives of Nuno Tavares. The Turkish club will assess the situation and bid once the player finishes the Under-21 tournaments with Portugal. With 2 years left on his Arsenal contract, Arsenal should be able to collect some sort of fee. And where things get interesting is Arsenal also have interest in a Galatasaray player in Sacha Bowie. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed their interest, the reported fee of around €20 million. Could Arsenal be able to negotiate some sort of swap deal? Albert Sambi Lokonga is also attracting interest. Reports in Belgium confirm Vincent Kompany is keen to sign Lokonga to Burnley on loan with an option to purchase. Lokonga was signed to a long-term Arsenal contract until 2026. His Crystal Palace loan spell was hit and miss, not helped by the departure of Patrick Vieira. At 23 years of age, there is still potential. The concern that he'll have though is the fact that Arsenal are targeting players in his profile. Box to box, number 8, number 6s. This is Arsenal being ruthless. They are trying to build a squad ready for the present. There will be quite a few teams after Sambi Lokonga, and this is where Arsenal are going to have to show the negotiating. How much will they be able to get for Sambi Lokonga? We've also got an update on the future of Granit Xhaka. According to Florian Plettenberg, it will take a few more days before both clubs reach an agreement. Xhaka still wants to join Bayer Leverkusen and is waiting for the next steps. His contract is almost negotiated. Arsenal need to find a replacement first, and Bayern is a no topic. This deal is inevitable. It seems like it's definitely going to happen, but Arsenal have their priorities first. In order to let a first teamer like Xhaka leave, Arsenal need to make sure they're not selling themselves short. Alongside Xhaka, Ben White is another player that's had a very strong Arsenal season. Transformed as a right back, this guy surprised so many, but as Mark Owen claims, Mikel Arteta is unsure if his long-term future is out wide. This guy's biggest strength is clearly his ability to learn. The profile of Ben White as a right back is very important, as we have seen with Pep Guardiola. The likes of John Stones are centre backs turned into right backs. Alongside Ben White, you've got the profiles of Jakub Kiwior, Takehiro Tomiyasu. It's clearly an area Mikel Arteta likes, but it's on top of that where Arsenal wants to add a different profile, and that's where they have interest in Even Freshneda. As Mark Owen claims, Mikel Arteta was keen on Even Freshneda during the January transfer window, but any hopes of a deal were scuppered by Valladolid's £35 million price price tag. Now there are suggestions that they are ready to sell for just half of the original valuation, and that could open the door for Arsenal to make a formal offer. At £17.5 million, he would fit within Mikel Arteta's budget as he sets out to improve his options. Arsenal are preparing themselves for different game states, and by signing a more attack-minded fullback, they will give themselves extra options going forwards. But is that the profile of even Freshneda? With only 1 assist last season, I'd argue this guy is better defensively than he is going forwards. We've also got an update from Fabrizio Romano on the future of Reiss Nelson, as he confirms Reiss Nelson was approached by Italian, French and English clubs, but his priority has always been Arsenal. The agreement is imminent. A new long-term deal almost agreed 2 weeks ago. It's about the final details. Then Nelson will sign until June 2027, plus an option included. With this move, Arsenal are locking up their left-hand side, even though they have the likes of Gabriel Martinelli and Leandro Trossard. In the case of Trossard, I believe he's more effective playing as a false 9. In Reiss Nelson, we have a bit more of a pure wide forward, a player with an explosive burst of pace, and more than able to play as a touchline wide forward, very similar to Gabriel Martinelli. But what about the right-hand side? What wide forwards could Arsenal be targeting? Well, let's go to Barcelona. As reliable reports in Spain claim, Barcelona are working on selling Ansu Fati, Ferran Torres, Frank Hesse, and even Rafinha as soon as possible. The key name there is Rafinha, an ex-target of Mikel Arteta. In his first year in La Liga, 7 goals and 7 assists. A left-footed right winger, Mikel Arteta loves his profile, and when 17 big chances created, this guy certainly has the creativity. But even after winning La Liga, Barca are still in a bit of a financial crisis, and that's where there will be opportunities. But the future of Lionel Messi could be a game changer. Barca are trying to make space to bring Messi back, but now as Fabrizio Romano confirms, Lionel Messi is going to Inter Miami. Here we go. Messi will play in the MLS, no more chances for Barcelona. This then opens up the question, will they still want to let go of Rafinha? But in terms of transfer sagas, there's one that has officially come to an end. After years and years of links to the Emirates Stadium, Houssem Aouar is leaving Lyon. And as Fabrizio Romano confirms, he has already signed contracts with AS Roma on a 5-year deal. Not too long ago, this guy was our prime target, and every year in the summer of 2020, this guy was our prime target. £50 million the price tag. Fast forward 3 years, available on a free transfer. Arsenal never even approached him. There's also been another massive move in the midfield transfer markets, with Fabrizio Romano confirming Jude Bellingham to Real Madrid. Here we go. A fee of €100+ million. Bellingham will sign a 6-year deal valid until June 2029. The midfield market is now taking shape. Alexis McAllister to Liverpool, Manuel Ugarte to PSG, and now Jude Bellingham to Real Madrid. The likes of Man United, Man City and Chelsea have all missed out, and that's where Arsenal are going to have to be careful. Their 2 main targets, Moses Caicedo and Declan Rice, will be next on the radar. A very important thing that Arsenal have to do this window is make these signings early. As we saw last season, the arrivals of Gabriel Jesus, Alexander Zinchenko, well before the start of the season, allowed for these guys to acclimatise and adapt, which gave Arsenal incredible momentum going into the season, allowing for us to make one of our best ever starts. So what is happening with the future of Moses Caicedo? As a battle between Arsenal and Chelsea brews, according to reports in Ecuador, as things stand, Caicedo is choosing Arsenal. Moses Caicedo is desperate to play inside the Champions League. And let's not forget that in the January transfer window, this guy wanted to move to the Emirates Stadium. An official transfer request onto social media. There is a clear desire to work alongside Mikel Arteta. The only concern that Arsenal have is finances. Brighton are looking for upwards of £80 million. Is that money that Arsenal can afford on top of Declan Rice? We also can't look past the importance of Levi Colwill, a Chelsea player unknown to Brighton. As Fabrizio Romano confirms, Brighton are now preparing a new record bid for Levi Colwill, close to £40 million to be submitted soon. Chelsea turned down a £30 million bid last week, and they've always had the same position. Colwill is a part of the long-term project. No intention to sell him. We've talked about a potential swap deal, but what if Chelsea don't want to sell? How would that affect the relationship with Brighton? Could that give Arsenal an upper hand? Now let's move on to Mikel Arteta's Champions League plan. After 6 years of waiting, Arsenal are back in Europe's prime competition, and this time round Mikel Arteta understands things need to be different. As Simon Collins confirms, internally it has been agreed the final stages of last season showed the squad needs more depth, especially now that Arsenal are back in the Champions League. Knocked out in the first stage of the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, the last 16 of the Europa League, Arsenal need to make sure that can't happen again. There will be an automatic expectation to fight on every single front. Arsenal have now gone nearly 3 years without a trophy. This is where Mikel Arteta needs a massive squad. So according to James Ollie, Mikel Arteta wants to revamp the Arsenal midfield with 2 signings. The Gunners are also interested in bolstering their options as centre-back and right-back. A new forward has also been discussed. Arsenal are looking for a new forward, and we've got a surprise Premier League target. According to Chelsea source Alex Goldberg, Kai Havertz is a target for Arsenal. Arsenal haven't approached Chelsea yet, but they are working on the player side. A lot of Arsenal fans can't make sense of this rumour. Kai Havertz, at 23 years of age, has had a very mediocre Chelsea career, despite scoring the win in a Champions League final. Last year, 7 goals, 1 assist, playing primarily as a centre forward. Havertz was the biggest underperformer in the Premier League in terms of expected goals. Havertz has never quite lived up to his near £71 million price tag. He still seems to be a man in demand. The likes of Real Madrid also have interest. What does Mikel Arteta see in him? Is it a Kai Havertz of Bayer Leverkusen? A player that at 20 years of age was smashing in 17 league goals a season. His record for Germany is also impressive. 12 goals and 34 appearances. I don't think he's the profile that Arsenal need. When you've got Gabriel Jesus and Leandro Trossard, those are players that I believe are even more effective. For the reported price tag of £60 million, there are far better options on the market. Now let's talk about Declan Rice. After weeks and weeks of waiting, the UEFA Conference League final is officially over, and West Ham have gone and taken European glory, beating Fiorentina 2-1 with a Gerard Bowen last-minute winner. In terms of Rice, it was a decent performance. A 7 rating with 23 accurate passes, 4 accurate long balls, and 4 ground duels won. It wasn't spectacular, but ultimately the job was done. Rice had captained West Ham to a European honour, and West Ham's first major trophy in 43 years. Yet another example of Declan Rice proving to be a level raiser. More trophies than Harry Kane. Here he was after the game, taking in the atmosphere. The West Ham fans celebrating and Rice holding back the tears. Here's what he had to say after the game. At the moment, there's a lot of speculation going on about my future. Obviously there's interest from other clubs out there, but ultimately I've still got 2 years at West Ham. There hasn't been anything yet. Let's see what happens. Rice here is showing respect to a club that have given him so much, but as Fabrizio Romano says, it's probably the best final step for Declan. Fantastic years at the club, now ready to make his move. Arsenal ahead of Bayern, but tonight, it's time to enjoy. This is now where things are going to heat up, and Arsenal's first offer is going to soon arrive. An offer above a club record £90 million. There have been some contrasting reports though, with reports in Germany claiming that Declan Rice is leaning towards a move to Bayern Munich and expected to become Bayern's most expensive ever transfer, with the transfer possibility at 80%. The reliable team using ticks though was quick to respond, with 4 emphatic laughing emojis. The man himself has spoken, and he has given us a gargantuan update. And he says, first off, people expecting a bid a few minutes after the final whistle will be disappointed. Arsenal will give West Ham and Rice time to celebrate. But here's where things get even more interesting. He confirms that Rice is fully sold on the Arsenal project. He loves Arteta, loves what he hears from the other England boys, and he's already told people he works with that he will be at Colney next year. Personal terms agreed so long ago, it's laughable. So Arsenal have an agreement with Declan Rice. He wants to move to the Emirates Stadium, so much so that, as his source confirms, the reports of United speaking to his dad are correct, but they were told that he wants Arsenal, and they haven't really spoken since. Not only is Arsenal his preference, but he also has another agreement. As confirmed there, he has a gentleman's agreement with West Ham to not stand in his way, but it also has to be sensible. They won't accept an offer for Arsenal just because he wants them, if someone else offers significantly more. Arsenal are in pole position, they have all the groundwork done, but all of that means nothing if they can't agree a deal with West Ham. They will want serious money, especially for the club captain that has just led them to European glory, and there is a clear reason why Mikel Arteta is so hungry for Rice. This guy is elite defensively, and in the Premier League last season, Declan Rice made more interceptions than any other player with 63. This guy has an elite footballing mind. He's always trying to read the game, trying to be a step ahead. There are very few midfielders in the world as comfortable defending 1v1 as Declan Rice. But as Jacob Steenberg says, Arteta's interest is not solely down to Rice's defensive qualities. This guy is able to drive forward, and more importantly, we have seen an evolution. From his breakthrough in 17-18, year after year this guy has changed, and over the past 2 years, as you can see, he's become a lot more left-sided. Identical to the heat maps of Granit Xhaka, with him set to depart, Arsenal are trying to get Declan Rice done as soon as possible. Now moving on to the other Arsenal news today, and starting off with Arsenal's return to Wembley. After Man City beat Man United in the FA Cup final, having also won the Premier League title, that means they will now face second place Arsenal in the next Community Shield, with the game scheduled to take place at Wembley on the weekend of August the 5th and 6th. The Premier League will then kick off the following weekend. Arsenal and the Community Shield have a decent little history. Not only did they win it in 2020 under Mikel Arteta, they have also won it 4 times in a row. And what a way to start off the season. A test against the reigning champions Man City, and a chance to win some silverware. Simon Collins also confirms Arsenal are planning to host Monaco in a midweek Emirates Cup friendly for the first time since it launched in 2007, due to the club being back in the Community Shield. The game has been penciled in for Wednesday the 2nd of August at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal are going to Germany, the USA and the Emirates Cup as well as the Community Shield. It is going to be a jam-packed pre-season, and therefore it's very important for Arsenal to get their signings in as soon as possible and give them the room to adapt. Now let's talk about Arsenal's most valuable players. As a recent report from the CIS Football Observatory confirms, Bukayo Saka is valued at 195 million euros, Gabriel Martinelli at 152, Martin Odegaard at 88, Jesus at 82, Ramsdale at 78, Saliba at 70, and likewise Gabriel Magalhaes. Arsenal have a very expensive squad, and in terms of Bukayo Saka, he ranks as the third most expensive player in the world, only behind Erling Haaland and Vinicius Jr., ahead of the likes of Kylian Mbappe. Now contracts play a massive part there. Having recently signed a brand new Arsenal contract, the value of Bukayo Saka is automatically going to be higher. There is no denying though that Arsenal definitely have a superstar on their hands, but that also brings a different level of pressure. Next year in the Champions League, on a massive Arsenal contract, there will now be a different level of expectation on Bukayo Saka's shoulders. In terms of Aaron Ramsdale, rated at 78 million euros, that makes him the most expensive goalkeeper in the world, ahead of the likes of Donnarumma, Alisson, Ederson and Thibaut Courtois. Contracts again play a massive part. Ramsdale was also recently extended, but 25 years of age, in the current world of goalkeepers he is still very young, and even though he's not perfect, he is still up there competing with the very best. But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all of his social medias, then the links are down below in the description. But that was today's episode of the Transfers FC. The Conference League final is officially over, but get ready because the Rice saga is about to get even more interesting. So I will see you next time. Stay tuned, take care, and in a bit.